Hello YouTube, I am Ash Ninja and I am here with a new campaign type thing. So one of the things I've actually had come through to me is a lot of people a few people that have watched my videos, because I have no more than a few that actually watch them, uh, been, been saying they don't really understand the game and that sort of stuff, and happens with a lot of us. That's a relatively complicated game. So I decided I'd start doing some how-to videos. So I'm still going to be playing a very hard campaign, which if you start off in something like this, you don't need to. I'm going to start off with our Mr. Generic, Emperor Karl. He's recently had a bit of a redo, so I'm still getting my head around some of the mechanics that they've put in place. But overall, that's fine. So they've added a little thing here, so you can kind of see that's what is our larger map. That's our smaller map. So you can see where his starting area is. Around him are a bunch of other Empire factions, all basically humans that you want to confederate with and this sort of stuff. I find you don't really want to go to war with them, but that's just me. Along here you've got mountains dividing us, where you've got Bretonia, who are a different kind of human. Feel free to go to war with them, but not straight away, of course. You've got some orcs and goblins down in this part of the mountains, some dwarves about here, some undead about here, and some more orcs and goblins up here. So yeah, like I said, we're going to be doing the Empire, which your initial challenge is easy, and I'd agree with that, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. So every faction has different effects, including their lords, and Empire, of course, no different. So you start off with extra diplomatic relations with the other Empire provinces, so things like Middenland up here, Nordland, which is a bit further up here, and so on and so forth around the place. When you recruit more lords, they have an extra +2 to their recruit rank. Your campaign movement range for everybody is an extra 10%, and you've got less upkeep for Rakesguard and Greatswords. So your Rakesguard are these guys. So 10% off your every turn income, every term upkeep for them, which is easily demonstrated by not having it there. So that's always a good demonstration that Creative Assembly let you know, so you can really see the benefits straight away. And your Lord effects are just +8 leadership, which to me is shit. Basically, it's like one of the worst ones. Like most of them have a few different ones, like Volkmar the Grim, for example. It only afflicts flagellants, which are those, which is nice and characterful for him. But it actually there's a fair few different things it does. Like Balthazar Gelt, you get lots more winds of magic. Your artillery's better recruit rank for battle wizards. But
Empire's blessings, yes.
8 leadership. Woo. But them's the breaks. Anyway, let's get into it. Our usual loading screens and that sort of stuff give us a bit of information on what's happened with the Empire. Basically, the Empire is, you've got an Emperor and you've got a bunch of elector counts that lead all the provinces, and they decide who the Emperor is. And so there's just a lot of infighting and that sort of stuff at the moment, and Karl Franz is really trying to unite the Empire under his banner. You do that with wars and that sort of stuff. I'll let the old fart talk in this case.
Yet the fight to secure your rule has only just begun. The Empire is beset by civil war once more. Secessionists hostile to your election as Emperor are trying to form a breakaway province to the south. Advance, crush them, and bring the lands back to your sovereign rule. To the north, Boris Todbringer of Middenheim, a bitter rival in the recent election, is openly hostile. A clash with Todbringer and the wolves of Middenland may well be unavoidable if you wish to unify the Empire. Plan for this eventuality. The Empire has ever been besieged by foes, but you are a prince of Altdorf. Greatness runs in your very blood. Make the Heldenhammer proud.
Alright, now, I've never liked the advisor. I think he's a useless old fart. Get rid of that as well. Now, especially when he's talking about, they're trying to make a province to the south. However, they also control that to the west, that to the west, and that to the west. They don't mention that, though. Talk about wanting to go to a war with Todbringer, how hostile he is. Yeah, so you've got a little tiny green skull there underneath their faction little badge. Now, if you go over that, you can actually see what the current relations with them are, and they're friendly. They're deteriorating, but they're friendly. They're not actually deteriorating very far. But when you look at something like Marienburg, -3, these guys, they're -20. They say that it's looking bad between us, but it's really not. Don't get me wrong. So another little thing that they put in for Empire is fealty, which is this guy here. So that is how loyal they are to the throne, basically. Now, when they get to fealty of 10, then you get the option to confederate with them, but you lose some of this imperial authority stuff, which is very, very useful. So when you've got none, you've just got -5 growth to all provinces. When you've got plus, and it's +1 plus anything, you get more money, more chance of more fealty and good growth. And if you go down, it declines rapidly to be bloody awful. So, imperial authority, very important. We've also got prestige, and that just that's a way of just you showing off how good and powerful you are. Including things like fighting people and all that sort of stuff. So as you can see, like these guys here, they've got a decent amount of fealty with me. Other places have 3, 6, I think these boys here only have 2. So you can go to war with them, but it affects things like your prestige. It can affect your imperial authority and whether or not people are going to... There's a way of cheesing it as well. So, because if you take... so that's their natural province. If you take one of their cities, you've got the option to actually give that back to them. If you give it back to them, you get more fealty with them. And you can literally go... burn it down, give them back their province, give them back their city, get the fealty, do it again. You don't even have to have an end turn. As long as you've still got enough movement to do a fight, you can just keep doing it over and over until you've got your 10, and then they'll join you. But at the same time, you actually lose a lot of prestige because you're fighting another elector count. So there's upsides and downsides. So I actually think that's pretty rubbish, and I wouldn't do it. But to start off, so we've got Karl. He is a melee lord. He's got click him. He's got a good amount of armor, good amount of leadership. He's pretty slow, but he's as fast really as any other foot lord. Good melee attack with magical attacks because he starts with a rune fang, which is a thing that's assigned to the leader of a province. So I can see why people would be getting very confused by now already, because there's just so much to kind of take in all at once. But I digress, so we'll kind of get that a bit into that more later. So, he's pretty slow. His melee attack isn't how much damage he'll do, it's how likely he is to hit the enemy. So it's good to have that pretty high. Now, melee defense is how likely he is to be hit with melee attacks only. It has no effect on missiles, it doesn't affect magic, it's only to do with when he's in combat, how likely is he to get hit, and that's actually pretty low. So he'll get hit fairly easily. So you can see here, you know, a basic troop has more melee defense than he does. Got to stop clicking off him. But he's got good weapon strength. He's got an okay charge bonus. And because of the special weapon he's got, he has an extra ability there. Now, Altdorf is currently our only city, and what we want to do at the start of this is we want to hook up getting the rest of these little cities as well. Well, start with upgrading this guy, because we want to upgrade out from a hamlet to a village. Our income will go up, public order will be better, growth will be better. The walls that are already part of the city, in this case, will get better bullets, and just generally better income overall. So, throw that in.
I command here.
We're gonna get on to moving Karl friends around the place. Now, I like to change my camera settings so that he moves fast and my enemy move super fast during the end turn, because staring at them dawdling about the map while it's the end turn counter slowly goes down through the 100 plus factions is boring as hell. Now,
Let's go.
first we want to do is Grunberg, because we've got the quest. Engage the enemy, and we want to fight this guy. So let's get into it. So we've got what do we have? We're against 2 swordsmen, 2 spearmen, and a set of crossbowmen, and Helmut Ludendorff. We've got less melee, so they've actually outnumbered us in melee. Our halberdiers are better than their troops though, so that's good. We've got a swordsman. We have a crossbowman as well, so that's good. But we also have handgunners. Handgunners, unlike crossbowmen, crossbowmen have arcing shots, so they're good at shooting over troops. Handgunners, not so much. They tend to have straight through shots, and they shoot into your troops, so you don't want to have them directly behind your armies, which I will demonstrate when I do my setup. But I do have Reiksguard, which I will be sending after their crossbowmen. So let's get in and fight the battle. So this is going to be a bit more of a slow-moving campaign, especially for the first few episodes. So I'll be going through, I'll explain a lot more of what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, that kind of thing. I've got some fairly cheesy ways of making extra money. I'm a fairly defensive player as well, so my campaign will probably run different to what a lot of people would do, but that's alright. These three, we'll select all 3 of these units so that we can chuck them out in front. So just sort of click and drag to put them out there. You can have long, thin, short, fat, however you want to do it. But we want a front line.
To me, man!
Now, we're actually going to pop Karl Franz up the front, because the idea is we're going to make him do some tanking, because he can take a fair bit of punishment. These guys, the handgunners, they're lovely, armor piercing and all of that. We want them up here, and as soon as they get a unit that's kind of getting within a range where they're going to charge, we're going to book these guys out of there as fast as possible. As long as we're looking at them, otherwise we'll just get caught out. Crossbowmen can hang behind them. Is why I prefer crossbowmen overall, even though they've basically just got a good range and a half decent amount of ammunition, where these guys are a shorter range but they've got armor piercing, which is great when enemies are heavily armored, but when they're not heavily armored, doesn't make too much of a difference. Alright, so we've got our setup. They're ready to go. Actually, no, we might as well just pop these guys over the side here. They don't actually need to. I'm going to sort of run them up around the battlefield. So that's our basic setup for this battle. Should go fairly well. We're going to shift Karl Franz forward a bit to try and get them to go where I want them to. Send our Reiksguard up forward. Let's see what despicable filth we're up against. Oh, that blue and white. You can see how good the quality of the graphics are, though. So when you're looking at models like that, they look fantastic. So you can see here, those crossbowmen are already peeling off because they've found targets. It also kind of messes up their formation, which I think is also quite handy. And now that they're that far away, we'll send them in for the charge. These guys are auto shooting. They're good enough to actually shoot at him. Now we want to shoot these guys at spearmen, so I'll pause it quickly just to show you why. So swordsmen are shielded. That gives them this little bronze shield just here, and they block 35% of small arm fire coming at them. Spearmen, however, not so lucky. They've just got 30 armor. So our crossbowmen will do much more damage to spearmen over the swordsman. Now the reason I keep them shooting at him is because he has 90 armor, and he also does have a shield. But with that amount of armor, you can see here he's already taken a good 300 odd damage. So we're already whittling away at their general. And that is a good thing. We are going to chuck Karl in against him soon, and then we'll probably change up their target to be one of these swordsman's units, because it'll basically, with the armor piercing, completely ignore their armor, so it'll still do a decent amount of damage. Anyway, so back into it. Alright, so you can now fire at him. That's good. Karl gets into combat there. They'll throw down that. Give him a bit of extra oomph. And now that they're about to break, let's pop our cavalry out of there so they don't get caught up in that. And you need to pull back as well. Idea is we try and cross them past the halberdiers so that we do that. Now, so that they don't have to shoot through, we will move him around that way. Oops, I don't want to get him too caught up in there. He's starting to get a bit damaged. You keep firing in on him. Pull him back so that we can get those swordsmen in. These guys will bring around the back here, and then they can shoot into the back of those swordsmen. There we go. They're going to get stuck into our spearmen there. So that's good. Their lord is about to die. Alright. You hook into the back of them. Once he's actually out of there, we'll send him there we go. Quick volley on them. You get in there. You get in there. Now, we'll turn off this guard mode so that we actually chase them down. That way they will not come back. Do the same here. We want to chase down as many as possible. Our crossbowmen are shooting at them. Their lord died, so that means I'll probably end up getting a new one now, because I don't think we'll manage to chase down everyone. That's alright, get the rakes guard onto these boys over here. Keep chasing them. What are they down to? They're down to a few, just a few there. See if we can get the handgunners to sort out more of them. So the more you can kill here, the less are going to come back when you fight them again later. If you have to fight them again later. We may not have to. So if we kill enough, then we'll actually end up wiping them out. So, which would be my preference. But I think at least one unit is going to make it off. You guys may as well shoot at him. Not really enough left. There we go. Are they going to make it away, are they? I reckon they are. Yeah, they made it off. And there's only 3 of those left, so that might still wipe them out. So once you have, I think it's about 6 models left, they still counted as wiped out. So we'll have to see. We did quite well chasing them down. The battles can get a bit frantic, the larger battles especially. But, you know. Yeah, so they'll get a new lord, and they'll run off. We'll take replenishment. Let's get our troops back up. And, okay, so we've gotten a few things there. We'll go through them quickly. So he gained a rank, which is good. So we picked up a follower, so that'll increase our research rate by 10%. Currently we can't do any research, I think. Oh, I've got to set up the research, that's fine. But that'll make it a bit faster anyway. A few of those will be good to have around the place. So we got some equipment as well, so... Oh no, we got another follower, so that's Magic Reserve plus 20 for his army, which is excellent. Not right now, is it excellent? Because we don't actually have any magic users, but in the future we'll get one. And he now also causes fear and terror, which is no real big deal. But now we pop him back across our border so that 1, we can replenish, so we're getting our health back. And 2, we can recruit. We're going to recruit archers. So in the end, archers, our ranged units are what really has the killing power. I know the Reiksguard got a lot of kills, but a lot of that would have been them chasing down units and that sort of thing. And eventually they'll actually become extremely useless, especially when we're against higher tier units. For now they're good, but later on, not so much. So, but we want archers. Archers are good and they're cheap. So, and yeah. So, we'll do his level as well. So, all of your lords have essentially 3 different tiers. Your basic tiers are yellow, red, and blue. Your legendaries also tend to have, and some of your other lords have another line up here. Plus, you've got what things you can get later under quests and that sort of thing. Plus, of course, you've got various mounts. So you have a normal horse, which will make him a bit faster, bit of charge bonus. A barded horse, which is a bit faster, which is a bit slower than a normal horse, but it's armoured, so he actually gains a bit of armour from that. And he gets a charge bonus as well. Pegasus, which basically makes him flying. And Deathclaw, which is his special flying mount that makes him absolutely kick ass. We've got a few other bits and pieces here that aren't too useful, except for that one, Sigma Ward, 10%. Now, the basic way these lines work is yellow line will buff Karl Franz himself, red line will buff his troops, and blue line will mean things on the campaign go better. So, for example, you've got campaign movement range, public order in the province he's standing around in, how much his recruitment will cost, and that sort of thing. Now, personally, and it's a sort of a 50-50 position that you see arguments about it on the Reddit thread and that sort of thing. I try not to worry too much about arguing about it, but I go down the blue line first. Not because I want Route Marcher, I think he's actually fast enough, and not because of anything in this part here. Don't need any of that. But what I do want is Lightning Strike. Because Lightning Strike means if we've got 2 enemies within range of each other that will reinforce each other, with the potential to be up against 40 units, you can use Lightning Strike and you will cut out anything but the main unit when you're attacking. So it cuts out your reinforcements as well. But if you know you can win that battle without reinforcements, bloody good idea. Plus, you've got Quartermaster, which reduces upkeep by up to 15% once you've got your 3 levels in it. That's normally as far as I go in the blue line, and at that point I normally start down the red line so that I can buff up my archers and crossbowmen and my artillery, because again I play a fairly defensive sort of game. Research, so we've got various types of research. We can't do anything in here because we don't have any money yet. This we actually need to get our capital up quite far before we can touch any of that, so we don't worry about them. This is going to be mostly about money and hero capacity and that sort of thing. Completely useless really to us at the moment. Bit of money would be good and growth would be nice, but not completely necessary. These are buffs for our infantry, cavalry, cannons, mortars, that sort of thing, and our missile units. And since our missile units are, like I said, our main killing power, we are going for missile units first. Alright, so that's 5 turns away. Now let's go into a bit of diplomacy. So, we'll start with Wizened Land. I don't think I'll get anything out of them.
You come in peace on this fine mark tag? Not in my name.
The more of these that I can have a non-aggression pact with, better, because that's less wars to be in, basically. Trade agreement just means more money, so... And overall, it means they're happier with me, and it's one less thing I've got to worry about.
Greetings on behalf of the Empire.
So let's try and get both of him. I've actually had trouble getting both on him normally, so that's good.
Of course.
I'll take that. I could actually try and get money out of them as well doing this, if they're so enthusiastic about it. But I'd rather just make sure I can actually get the pact over the money. My economy will do fine later, so it's not too big a deal. Toddbringer, I can probably get a non-aggression pact. I doubt he'll agree to the trade agreement. Let's try just that one. That's good. Where am I up to? Nordland will probably just tell me to go screw myself. Yeah. We'll try Hochland and Averland as well. No.
Yes.
Averland, you're going to go no as well. Didn't think you'd be that amenable to it. Gelt normally agrees to it, just because he's a good guy. Britannia, we're already at a non-aggression pact with them. Let's see if I get a trade agreement. Later on, that will probably go up. He'll want the military access, so we'll be able to get a trade agreement with them. Later, Kislev, I'm going to give them that, because that means I get my trade agreement and military access. I don't really need the military access, but if I just go for the trade agreement, they'll tell me to get naffed. And, yeah. Rightio, so, that is first turn done. Now, so at this point, he will that unit will probably do. He'll probably Scarpa, and I'll take Grunberg next turn, which will be a nice simple battle as well. Don't know if I'll fight it. We'll have a look. We might do just for the sake of it. Oh, we'll see. So what I've noticed with this latest patch when it comes to the Empire is your land's actually on the Empire side of things, so all around this area is like super safe. You don't I'm not really interested in going to war with any of these guys anyway. I'd rather just confederate with them, so I tend to go west towards Britannia and up towards this area. So I will be going through my strategy for this. It's a fairly slow play strategy, because again, I'm a slow guy, so I've got to make things simple for me. Grunberg, you can see here the balance of power is barely a sliver. I'm not going to lose any units. I can handle the few losses I will take. So I'm just going to auto-resolve that. And occupy it. Ooh, I got another one of those. Oh. This armor is freaking awesome. Shield of Ptolos. Beautiful. So that 30% missile resistant. Fantastic. So things like your main cities and what you can build in these smaller towns, you can build walls. The walls shoot at you. Using Shield of Ptolos, you're reducing that by 30%. And as a natural thing for them, they've got 15% missile resistance. Anyway, so he's at 45% missile resistance. So standing there and copying bullets from the towers, not a problem.
Your burgeoning realm.
Alrighty. Just got to turn all that stuff off for the moment. So because of this, because of the way Empire is, you've got a quest, and so you've got a quest battle over here. I'm not actually going to do that just yet. I want to finish consolidating province first. Part of consolidating the province, now that we have our Grunberg, which is just a little tiny town with a special grazing pasture to help with growth and replenishment rate. So next step is swordsman. I've got a bunch of spearmen for my back line, so let's have a stronger front line. And we'll do our next step along the line of our blue line. So we'll take Iron Disciplinarian. Now, a lot of the time with Empire, what the tactic tends to be is you take your province, you take Helmgart. I don't take Helmgart. I only take the province. A lot of the time, what more experienced guys will then also do is let this get to a point where it will rebel, and they farm those rebellions. I don't like farming the rebellions as much as I like farming the secessionists. Because what will happen is I'll have all of this, they'll have Helmgart, and they'll be making stacks of just spearmen and archers, which are absolutely trash. I'll be leaving Uberstreik very weak, and they will just naturally come this way to try and attack Uberstreik, and I'll be hiding about here, ambushing them. There. That's how we do that. So we've got that recruiting now. This is like some special units that they've got. So because I have the Rakeland province, I can get the Karaberg greatswords. See at the top, they're not going to be. I'm not going to have a unit ready for another 14 turns, but then I can recruit them into my army, and they are bloody good. So I will be trying to remember to do that. Let's quickly try out with Nuln again, now that we can have a trade agreement.
I make no promises to my disagree with that.
But they're not interested, so I'm still pretty stuck on how much trade I'm getting.
Sigma's will.
Now, I did skip Marienburg before, but that's because the plan will be later on to try and take Marienburg if Bretonia doesn't take Marienburg, which they normally do. They normally take it, so, but, you know, sometimes the campaigns do vary a little bit. So, next turn. Next couple of turns will be fairly slow. We'll slowly move our way up this way, doing some recruiting after each turn before we actually hit Uberstreik. Most likely we'll have to fight an army as well at Uberstreik, as well as just its little 5 people there, but that's okay. By the time we are actually over there, we'll have a big enough army that we should be able to take it out. I've planned this out because I've done it several times already, so I'm not going to lie or anything and be like, oh, this is my first time doing it, aren't I suddenly successful? Ha 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 ha. I've done this exact thing about 4 times since the most recent patch, so this is practice, hopefully making perfect. But let's just say I'm still an idiot, so this could still go completely pear-shaped. Alright, let's move him up this way a bit. You see they're recruiting as well. So currently 6, so that's 11 they've got now. I've got 13, but I've still got to do some recruiting anyway. So we'll grab 2 more swordsmen and an archer. So I'll have 16. Technically he should only be able to get to 9. Technically. But and if you ever decide to play this game, you'll find the AI cheats so much. It's ridiculous. So sometimes you can find they do a lot of extra recruiting, and you're just like, that's impossible. You can't actually do that with them. And it's true, you can't. But the AI cheats, especially when you're at like a very hard difficulty or legendary difficulty. The cheats get more and more blatant as you go up. I only play very hard. Legendary scares me too much. So I run away like a scared little girl. Or a scared little boy. Whichever you prefer. And don't play the super hard modes. Just the fairly hard mode. Yeah. But that's what you get. Now, secessionists, what are you going to do? Okay, so did they just get the 3? Yep. That's good. I'm happy about that. Okay, we'll do all of our sort of open world stuff before we get into the battle. So, yes, we want to upgrade this because at the moment we're at this tier. Tier 1 stuff, it's okay, but no, we want crossbows. Crossbows are better than archers. What I am going to do is, because this only goes to tier 3, I'm actually going to build it, eventually demolish it and build it in one of these smaller towns. That way I can put some of the buildings are going to higher tier here, because these only go up to that tier 3. It's as far as you can go on a small one, whereas these ones you can go up to full tier 5. So you're just maximising your building potential there. Yeah, so we want that, and we also want, we're not going to worry about any other recruitment building. I don't actually want cavalry anyway. I'm not a cavalry guy. I want money, and I want a tavern. Tavern for happiness, money because money's really handy when you're playing a game like this. Okay, so they've got 14, I've got 16. This should be a pretty easy battle. Before we do that, let's do diplomacy. They're still on 10, I won't get anything.
Yes.
They're up to 41 now.
And make your offer.
Still not interested. I might be able to bribe him into it, but I don't think I could be bothered.
I am the
You interested now? We're given the military alliance as well. Oh, I forgot to ask for money, which I was about to do, but oh well. But we got our trade agreement, so that's good. That keeps things going up.
So,
alrighty.
then I will fight with you.
So Uberstreak, they only have 1 crossbowman. That's good. Lots of swordsmen, so we'll have to just sort of stop all that at the front line. And lots of spearmen, so yeah. So we've got to try and stop a lot of it at the front line and just shoot over our men into them. Except, of course, with our handgunners. So, let's hook in. So it'll be a bigger version of the last battle. 2 bigger front lines. Cavalry go around the back, take out their crossbowmen. And yeah, Karl tank out the front. Handgunners shoot stuff. Now, the good thing about this map as well is I can set up a defensive position about here and they'll come out of the trees.
We are ready.
It seems to be what they always do. So what we're going to do is I'm going to pop him off to the side. So he's actually going to be kind of my flank holder. Good old halberdiers. I'll put him about there. Face him a little bit further that way, I think. In the centre, I want my crossbowmen. Flanked on each side by archers.
Ready to fire.
I'll move them in slightly closer, though, I think. I might actually push them this way a bit further.
Missile troops.
Don't turn around, you Gumbies. Face that way. What am I doing here? Who am I and what am I doing here? Yep. Now, these spearmen, I'm going to chuck them like that. That way they can get that charge defense going. This time I am going to put my cavalry down. No, I'll put them over here. We'll hide them in the forest so that we can charge out there in a surprise attack. Karl, friends, we're still going to leave him where he is. And they... looks like they're coming for us, going to come out of the trees at us.
Missiles at the ready.
So we might just move these boys just a little bit forward. And apparently make them face weirdly. Oh, okay, whatever. So this gives us our nice defensive position. Let's since they're coming through the forest at us, let's fast forward a bit. They were moving at us at least. Got a hunk of a man in the middle here. Believe that's supposed to be Sigma. Whoop. The man got himself. And with abs like that, who's going to argue? Alright, so in this case we're just going to kind of let them shoot at what they will. The enemy's so packed in there, it's not going to be too big a deal, I don't think. Let's get the halberdiers facing a different way. Make it easier for them. Let's pull these guys back. The halberdiers absorb that charge. We'll get the handgunners back here to face this direction. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Alright, he can pop out of here and go and hunt down some crossbowmen. Now, you boys, I'm going to have you shoot there. I think you'll get a fair bit less friendly fire there. You guys get shooting. Yep, you're shooting. Get you guys shooting into that unit at the back there. You guys going to shoot at them. You've got somebody blocking you, interestingly. So let's move you around a bit. So if you see these up here, you've got the yellow means they're in a battle that they're probably losing. That means they're in a battle they should win okay, and that's in a battle they're going to go well in. So as you can see, most of my guys are actually losing, but that's all right. We've broken the crossbowmen, so we'll break free of them. Where are we having trouble? We're having probably most trouble over this side at the moment. So we'll get them out of here, and we'll throw a rear charge in there. I probably caused a bit of damage to my own unit there, but that's okay. So, rear charge, looks like it's done good things there. Victory's in our grasp, so that's good. We'll pull the cavalry out, and we'll hit another spot. Now, these boys haven't taken a lot of damage at all, so let's see if we can We're going to get blocked off, I think, by those guys. Yeah. That didn't go quite as well as it could have. That's alright. Shoot at them, they're still in range. Looks like most of their army is on the run now. Let's get him into that fight. And the Reichsguard after those crossbowmen again. These guys can add their fire over there. But we've sent them all on their way. Reichsguard did quite a good job out the back there. Working their magic in the rear. Now, the reason that they all break like that suddenly, so once you kind of destroy a certain percentage of their military power versus a percentage of your own military power, so it is a target that kind of changes. So if you're taking a lot of damage and they're taking as much damage, you've got to give out more than you're giving, more than you're taking. So, and then they will get to a point where they'll go, yep, that's a full rout on them. Same thing can happen against you though. So that's what you've got to remember with that. Okay, so we now have Überstreik as well. That gives us a turn to do a bit of replenishment and get yeah, we'll go like that for our recruitment. At this point, I tend to keep it relatively even. I'm not going to upgrade Überstreik. They're going to stay as level 1. I will upgrade Grunberg.
The Empire.
And our next point will go into another point in Iron Disciplinarian, so that I can keep trying to sort out the public order here. It won't really be a problem, especially once I've got the tap room built. But yeah, okay. Oh, that's actually good. So that's more movement range. So, plan for next turn. I'll hit end turn before I start going on about it. Plan for next turn is straight from Überstreik, hit Eilhart, because they don't have any forces down there. We took out their force here at Überstreik. And that will then give us the province. They may jump out of here and attack Überstreik because it'll have, like it says 5, but the garrison will be damaged. So early on, your garrisons, they do need to replenish up those troops. So they'll be at like 1/4 health. So they'll be, yeah, very easily destroyed. And they may destroy it. That doesn't bother me too much. I mean, I'm already knocking down the building that was in there. So there's not really a lot of value to that town at the moment. And it represents a weak point in my little province. And the idea is I want to keep that weak point. The AI naturally hits you on a weak point. It naturally goes, okay, there's your weak point, I'm going to attack it. So in this case, because you know your enemy is coming from here, you can give them a weak point nice and close by. Guaranteed they will go for that. Every now and then they might try and skip it, but 99% of the time they just hit your weak point. And I'm perfectly fine with that, because it means I can predict what the enemy will do. I'm going to leave them with growth. Normally I'd actually get rid of the growth buildings, but at the moment I want to upgrade Altdorf. So I'm not actually going to... See, my mistake I made here was actually upgrading that, when I should be upgrading that. So next time We wait till we can upgrade Altdorf first. So another point in Iron Disciplinarian, and there we have our. So we get this little button for a commandment for your entire little province here. So you essentially get a buff that does a bit to it. So you can have income from trade, which for us is good because we've got a lot of trade agreements, and growth, which means we get a lot of that. Extra recruitment, tax rate is good. That gives you just straight up more money. That's good if you're getting a bit of corruption and heroes bugging you, but generally you don't need it's not worth it. And that's good if you really are super keen on fixing up your public order. I'm interested in money and growth, so that's what we want there. There won't really be anything else we can do for diplomacy, so that's decreasing now, so they're even less likely. Yep, that's deteriorating. That's deteriorating now. That's a bit of a bummer.
It is good to see fellow sons of the elves.
Try anyway. Oh. Got to try and flip the coin occasionally. Now, so that's it for this. As you can see, so through the victories I've been having, I gain prestige as well. So I've won battles, therefore that's got me an extra 60. I own settlements, so that gets me an extra 15. I've gotten the extra Imperial Authority from a quest, I think. We haven't had any dilemmas come up yet, but they'll get there as well. Can't have him yet. And that's our Regiment of Renown. You start getting them at when your Lord hits certain levels. So, and they're really good. They've got extra bonuses over the standard versions of themselves, but you can only have one. And because I like to have a nice uniform army, I don't tend to get them. And the good thing about them as well, you don't have to wait for any recruitment time. So if you've got a lot of regiments of renown waiting and something unexpected happens, you can quickly recruit a lord, throw a whole bunch of regiment of renown in, even though it's probably going to be a fairly makeshift army, and put together a force that will be able to hopefully hold back whatever is coming. So, yeah, so it's good for an emergency, for the unseen enemy opportunity, is how I run it at least. But yeah, so that's only been, what, 5 turns, I think, into here? Oh, yep, so as predicted, that's fine. As you can see, over here, my troops had virtually nothing. Yeah, okay, so he's not even going to take Uberstreik. That's fine. Oh, here we go. So this is one of the dilemmas you get to change the fealty around. In this case, so as you can see, it's Ostland and Averland. Averland is just here on the map. I can't move the mini-map around while this is up, which is a bit shit. But so Averland's actually relatively close. I'm pretty sure they're that yellow one just here. Now, Ostland is somewhere up here. So you've got Middenland, which is here just to our north, so here. And Ostland is somewhere off. So, since I don't really care about Ostland, so I don't want their land. So, because again, if this gets to 10, they'll start trying to get us to, we'll get the opportunity to confederate with them. So, what we want to do is, Averland, since they're closer to us, joining with them is more feasible since we're only divided by a little bit of Wasteland, or whatever they're called, just here. So we're going to start with Averland, get them up. We'll shut him up a bit, because our prestige has grown, and that gives us more money as well. Uberstreak, yep, that was sacked. And we got more ammo. Now, so this will be what I was talking about here. So we're there. Well, we've actually got Grunberg just there, which is one of ours. Then you've got just one little region, and there's Aveland. So they're at 6 now. Whereas Osland is all the way up and over this way. That just means I've got to then attempt to guard a territory way over there and over here. And they're right at the edge of where Chaos will come down at a later time. And while these guys still have to worry about green skins and that sort of stuff, it's a lot easier for me to go, oh shit, and run just across there. So that's the reasoning behind that. Alright, I'm not going to repair that. Those buildings will repair on their own slowly, but it does affect your public order. So down there where it says devastation, that's that damaged building, but I'm not worried about that for the moment. I'm not going to upgrade Isleheart yet, because in 3 more turns I'll be able to start upgrading Altdorf. That's a much better option, I think. I will, however, take the extra money.
I command here.
So what we're going to do, because... So this is, that will leave us at 20%, 26%. So you can see, if you look at the portrait on the left of the screen there, you can actually see how much movement he'll have left. This is because I'm holding down the right-hand mouse button, and I'm not... instead of just clicking, I'll hold it down, and you can actually see, oh, yep, I'm going to have that much movement, this much movement, that sort of stuff. So for... where are we? Ambush stance. No, that's raiding stance. What the hell?
Do not take me for a fool.
Why doesn't he have ambush anymore? Oh, I think it's because he's in... let's see.
Yes.
Or have they changed him so he can't... Yeah, there we go. Ambush stance requires 25% of your movement still.
I am France.
So we'll pop him in ambush stance just there. I'd rather actually get him to about here, which is actually where I'll move him next turn. And ambush there. And we're not going to do the settlement upgrade, so we skip that. We're not going to repair the damaged building, so we skip that. And that will end the turn. Oh. So Helmgart being one of these little forts here, so it's got a natural garrison of 14 that always has walls, and with that army in it, I don't think I can take it anyway. And I don't have any artillery to destroy things like the towers. There's a couple of ways you could still do it. You can march your army close enough to get so that the towers can't actually shoot at you anymore, and you can shoot over the walls at the troops. And run your troops up. You could probably take it doing that, but I don't like the risk involved. And I personally just want to consolidate my province here and build it up. So even if you take Helmgart, you're still going to need to do that. The only difference is you'll have a defensive position further out. But I've actually found that doing it a slightly different way works a bit better. And I'll demonstrate that. Okay, so people way over there. I'm gonna side with Stirland because that green patch right there is Stirland. And Ostermark is way away, so I don't really care. So we'll allow that expansion to go on.
In the name of Magnus.
So if I position myself about here,
My orders are to move.
about there,
I see
because the
no
path
thought.
he'll take to attack Ubersreich, which I will actually now repair. It'll actually be slightly cheaper now as well. So that's the path he'll take. So for him to actually attack Ubersreich, he has to run right through that ambush. And that is exactly what we want him to do. Now you are going to get fortified. That's Grunberg. That's Grunberg over here. So they're going to get their fortifications in. And I'll upgrade the cow pastures as well, because I want the extra growth. So I actually want to grow this relatively quickly right now. Later on I'll destroy, once I just get this to 5, I'll just destroy all of the growth buildings. I'm not going to do that because 2 more turns, upgrade Altdorf, because we need 2 surplus. We got 1 at the moment. And as you can see here, 2 more turns, gives me another one. So there we are. So what it'll also do is, because there is actually an orc city somewhere about there-ish. There we go, Massive Orcal. They'll actually start sending orc armies down this way as well. Again, they'll be generally, I've seen it happen where they've skipped it, but generally what will happen is they'll come through this pass as well. Sometimes they might use a special move called Underway Movement and actually avoid it and hit Grunberg. But that's why we fortify Grunberg. So we make Grunberg a harder target, and we'll make Eilhart a harder target as well. Then they will focus on the weaker Ubersreik, and they see that as a nice, delicious piece of cake that they can just stomp all over and make money out of. And that's what we want them to think. So it makes the AI a bit easy to manipulate at times, but yeah, you know, what you gonna do. Waiting. Are they gonna come down? No. Negative growth. Good stuff. That's very helpful. Still only 1 turn though to go left. Should I build something at Ubersreik just to make it a bit more? Yeah, we'll build a money building there. So that's good. I've only got -1 now. So as you can see, there's that province instability at -8. So that will so it'll be at 0 next turn, then it'll be +1 the next turn, and that sort of thing. So not too much longer to worry about that. That's still going down. That's fine. Hochland don't like me very much. The good thing is, so normally when you're trying to confederate amongst your faction, you need them to like you a lot. With the fealty mechanic, you don't need them to like you at all. They can despise you. They can even be at war with you. If you get to 10 fealty, though, then they'll confederate with you anyway. So, so it's I think the mechanic's good, but I think it's a bit faulty at the same time. Alright, so the next turn we should be able to get Altdorf to start upgrading. Now, so while this is sort of a how-to campaign, it is a how-to campaign. So I'm not going to stop just because there's not really anything new to learn or anything like that, or anything I can kind of pretend I'm teaching people. I'm still going to do I want to do the whole campaign. I want to try and unite. I want to at least unite the Empire and probably destroy all of Bretonia. So it's still going to be another long campaign, like the dwarves, like the high elves, like Ikit was, like Gorok is, all that sort of thing. So it's just yet another thing that I'm going to be coming out with every week. So this will be another weekly set of videos like the other ones mentioned. I haven't worked out what day I'll be releasing this yet. Just because I've already got one that releases Sunday and one on Tuesday, so I could do this one either Wednesday or Thursday. I could even do it on Saturday. Fairly undecided. Alright, I don't actually need that money. Otherwise, plus 4 chaos corruptions for 5 turns. It's not really a problem. But since I don't need the money, we're not going to take it. I am, however, going to say, Alt off, up you go. So one more turn will upgrade Isleheart and then give them walls as well. Or at least a garrison. And we'll continue from there. But for now, I'm going to call this the end of video 1 for the Empire. So I hope if you've been watching, you've been able to enjoy it and gotten something out of it. It will get probably a little bit more advanced in things next week. Since I'll be upgrading this one, I'll give you a little bit of a taste of what I'm going to be doing. We're going to be going for Wizards Conclave, and it's going to seem a bit strange, but I'm also going to be getting the Altdorf Conclave of Battle Wizards. The two buildings look like they do the same thing. Hero capacity +1, unlocks recruitment rank, unlocks recruitment for wizards, but that means I can recruit more of them. And next week I'll also show why that's a good thing. And we'll also want that building to be able to get warrior priests, and we're going to be getting that definitely to level 3 so that we can get Empire captains. Captains and warrior priests are not that great in your army. They're pretty generic, but they've got another very, very good purpose that I intend on putting them to. But for now, that's just kind of the teasers for next week. So until next week, I hope you have a good one.